Everyone is talking about the revolution happening inside our cars. They're becoming electric, autonomous, super connected. But what if I told you the real game-changing revolution is happening in the factories that build them? There's a new blueprint out there, and it's about to completely transform manufacturing as we know it.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll get into why this shift to smart factories is happening right now. Then we'll look at the competitive landscape, this two-sided battlefield. From there, we'll jump into the really cool stuff, the vision for what's being called the living factory of 2040. And of course, we'll cover the three-pillar roadmap to get there, and the final call to action. So first things first, why the huge rush? Well, think about it. The old-school rigid assembly lines were designed for one thing: mass production of the same car, over and over. But that world is gone. Today, we're in an era of mass personalization. We've got EVs, constant software updates. That old model just can't keep up. It's basically breaking, which means we have to reinvent the factory from the ground up. Now, this is the crucial point. We are moving way, way beyond just simple automation. The real goal here is to transform every single piece of equipment from being a passive tool into an active, intelligent agent. I mean, just imagine a machine that doesn't just do what you tell it to. Instead, it can actually perceive its own environment, learn from data, make its own decisions, and get better at its job over time, all by itself. And look, this isn't just some theory on a whiteboard. It's a direct response to four massive forces hitting the auto industry all at once. First, customers now expect cars that are customized just for them. Second, there's immense pressure for manufacturing to be both fast and sustainable. Third, supply chains aren't a straight line anymore. They're a tangled, interconnected web. And, on top of all that, you have these incredible new technologies, like gigapresses, that are just completely rewriting the manufacturing rulebook. So what makes this whole race so interesting is the current state of play. It's not just a simple competition. The source material actually calls it a two-sided battlefield, and for good reason. You've got these really distinct advantages and disadvantages on both sides. And here's where that tension really comes from. On one side, you have the established international giants. They basically own the foundational tech. We're talking the high-precision sensors, the industrial software, the mature data platforms. They've been at this for a while. But then, on the other side, you have markets like China, which have become the world's most dynamic testing ground for new applications, especially with the EV explosion. And this has led to incredible, rapid breakthroughs in specific areas, like creating these massive die-casting machines that are totally changing how cars are built. So, faced with this really complex battlefield, this roadmap doesn't just suggest a few small tweaks. No, it sets an incredibly bold North Star, a vision for the factory of 2040 that is nothing short of transformative. The core idea here is a complete and total paradigm shift. We have to stop thinking of a factory as just a static building full of machines. Instead, the vision is to see it as a living organism, a smart, interconnected ecosystem that can sense what's happening, react, adapt, and even evolve, all on its own. So, what does a living factory actually do? Well, it's defined by four key features. 1, the equipment doesn't just operate, it perceives and evolves, constantly learning and improving. 2, production lines aren't fixed, they're fluid, able to reconfigure themselves almost instantly based on new orders. 3, it's not a top-down command structure, it's a collaborative network, where machines, robots, and people all work together. And 4, and this is huge, sustainability isn't just a goal, it's built into the factory's DNA, from design all the way to recycling. Okay, a grand vision is one thing, but it's just a dream without a plan, right? So how do we actually get there? The roadmap lays out a very concrete, three-pillar strategy that's designed to roll out in phases over the next couple of decades. The plan unfolds in 3 main stages, and they're measured using something called IME, or Intelligent Manufacturing Equipment Levels. Think of it like leveling up. By 2030, the goal is to lay the foundation, get a big chunk of the industry to IME 2, which is about partial automation and data connectivity. Then by 2035, the focus shifts to scaling that up to IME 3, with more integrated learning systems. And the final step, by 2040, is to achieve IME 4, which is true autonomy, where the factory can largely run itself. All right, let's dig into the first pillar. This is all about the hardware, the physical stuff. It's about creating a flexible and resilient foundation for this factory of the future. So this means, first, making equipment way more precise, fast, and reliable. But, and this is key, It also means designing it to be modular. Think of them like high-tech Legos that you can quickly reconfigure for totally new tasks. And finally, it's about baking sustainability right in from the start, with a big goal of boosting overall equipment effectiveness by 10%. So if Pillar 1 was about building the body, Pillar 2 is where we give that high-performing hardware a brain and a nervous system. This is what's called the evolution to embodied intelligence. This is where the machine truly becomes that intelligent agent we talked about. It starts with sensors everywhere so it can perceive its environment. Then each machine gets a digital twin, basically a perfect virtual copy that's used for simulations and optimization with AI. This whole setup allows the real machine to self-diagnose problems, self-adjust, and ultimately self-evolve, all driven by the goal of collecting data from over 90% of the key equipment. And that brings us to the third and final pillar, which is maybe the most critical one of all. This is where we scale up intelligence from a single machine to the entire factory ecosystem through group collaboration. And to really get why this is so important, just look at this number. By 2040, the goal is for intelligent robots to handle over 70% of the key jobs in auto manufacturing. I mean, a transformation on that scale is literally impossible if every machine is just an island doing its own thing. They absolutely have to work together. This is where group intelligence comes in. It means seamless, instant connectivity, allowing AI to optimize the entire factory system, not just one little piece of it. And so importantly, it means creating a real human-machine symbiosis, where people and robots are true collaborators. It's the difference between a bunch of solo musicians playing their own tune and a perfectly synchronized orchestra. You know, a roadmap is only as good as the action it actually inspires. So this report doesn't just paint a pretty picture of the future. It finishes with 3 urgent strategic imperatives to actually make it happen. So what needs to be done right now? It comes down to 3 things. Number 1, invest in the foundational tech, the core chips, sensors, and software that everything else is built on. Number 2, establish common data standards. You gotta create the rulebook so all this different equipment can actually talk to each other. And number 3, start implementing. Launch pilot projects to test these ideas, learn fast, and turn this strategy into a real competitive advantage. These are the essential first steps. Ultimately, what this all boils down to is this. The shift from simple automation to true machine autonomy isn't just another tech upgrade. It's one of those historic, pivotal moments that will decide who leads the entire global auto industry for the next generation and beyond. So, the blueprint is here, the path has been laid out, but the huge question that remains is, can all the different players, industry, the research labs, the policymakers, actually get on the same page and work together to build this future? The race is officially on.